Good evening, Neapolitan fans. Neapolitan gal here. Now I'm going to show you a trick that I've been doing for years with my family. We don't eat this very often, but I'm making Hamburger Helper tonight. Double cheeseburger macaroni. Now, this is the twin pack. Now, I'm not going to make both packets, so to speak. What I'm actually going to do is I have my container I keep the extra noodles in. I'm going to make 1.5 packets. That way there's enough, and we have some leftovers. And then what I'll do is the other half of one of these I'll just put in my noodle container and put it away. Now, you're probably wondering, okay, make 1.5 packets, what do you do? Well, I don't usually use extra beef. My son is real picky on red meat, so I don't use a whole lot of it. I don't use any extra beef unless I really do have it on hand. So you boil the noodles. You all know how to boil the noodles. And then instead of 2 cups of milk, I'm going to use 3 cups of milk. So I actually bought a gallon of milk today. So what I'm going to do is, typically what you're supposed to do is do this all in one pan. It takes too long because first you got to do the browning of the meat, and then you're going to dump the water in, you're going to dump your noodles in, and you got to wait for the noodles to finish up. So what I actually do is I actually boil my noodles separately, do my meat and noodles at the same time, combine them, and then serve. So instead of doing like well over a half an hour this way, I cut it down by at least 10 minutes because you still got to boil the noodles, but you're able to do beef and noodles at the same time. So for this, I use my my Cuisinart pan. Honestly, I'm not sure the size of it, but use my Cuisinart pan to do my meat in, and then I'll drain my meat in a colander in a sink. And a lot of times if they finish up about the same time, I'll actually drain the meat and the noodles at the same time and then add them to the pan at the same time as well. So I'm going to get both of my pans started here. Now I have my Wolfgang Puck 1810 stainless steel pot. That's what I'm going to do my noodles in. Reach up here, I'm going to spray both pans. I'm going to spray both pans with Pam. There's my Pam. This way nothing sticks. And I'm actually going to keep this out because when I drain the pan and then put everything back in, I want to make sure that still nothing sticks. So I'll let you watch my stove for a minute. I'm going to get some water. I'm going to get everything going. I'll cut the video off, then we'll come back when everything's ready to be pulled together. Again, I'm going to use only 1.5 of these, and I'm actually only going to use 1.5 of these. So I'll put both into my noodle jug, and that way I have them for another time. Gotta wait for my water to come to a boil before I add these in. Let's see, now I got 1.5, and the other half is in here. Now I actually usually keep elbow macaroni anyway in that, and it just works well with everything. This pan, I'm actually going to turn it back off for a minute. It's ready to go, but I want to get my noodles going first before I get my beef going. So I'll see you guys back in a little bit. Okay, Neapolitan fans, Neapolitan gal back. I have just finished cooking the meat and the pasta for my dish. I'm making Hamburger Helper. I'll put everything back in the pan now. In case you missed the first part of the video for some crazy reason, I boiled the noodles separately. I did the meat separately. And I'm actually picked up a twin pack from Walmart of the double cheeseburger macaroni, which is the one my son likes. And I'm only doing 1.5. So I did 1.5 packs of the noodles, 1.5 packs of the cheese. I added since I did an extra half a serving, half a pack, I did an additional cup of milk. I just pulled all of my ingredients together in a pan. I added a little extra seasoning to my meat. And now I am just going to bring all this together, let it thicken up, and then, I don't know, a lot of you can make this, if you do this or not, but I actually add cheese, shredded cheese to the top. Sometimes it's shredded, sometimes I do sliced, if I think about it in the store, but I actually have some shredded cheese here from when I did my, mac and cheese a while back. I'm actually going to add that cheddar to the top of this, once that starts simmering and thickening up some, I'll add that cheddar to the top, and it'll give it a nice cheesy consistency. So when you lift up the spoon, you know, it's like, be like Nicocado avocado with a stringy cheese. So let's see here. Now the reason I started doing this is my son doesn't much care for red meat. Ground beef is about the only red meat he can handle. You know, he doesn't really care for anything really. He doesn't eat steak. He doesn't. He'll eat beef tips, and it's some beef and noodles. But for the most part, he's not a red meat kid. So I started doing this years ago, where I make 1.5 servings, but I double everything else. I don't double the meat. That way, the meat is a smaller portion of the dish, and the noodles are a bigger portion of the dish. Now doing it this way, I got the noodles cooked. I cooked the beef. I got the noodles about halfway done. Then I cooked the beef. I actually added a little bit of garlic salt to it. Don't add much because there is a lot of sodium in Hamburger Helper. Now this will just take a couple of minutes for it to start really thickening up. I'll actually turn up the heat now. And then once the cheese on top starts getting a little more pale, which means it's starting to render a little bit better, then I will go ahead and add my cheddar cheese to the top of it. So probably 2 or 3 minutes, and I'll be ready to go for me to add the cheese to it. In the meantime, clean my mess up. Now, in case y'all missed it, there is a video on YouTube right now where I showed you how to make this seasoning. This is Belove's seasoning that goes with her butter sauce. And I used this the other night on fried some french fries. And then I dusted them with this, and oh my god, was it so good. So I'm slowly but surely coming up with different ways to use that other than just for the seafood sauce, because I don't have seafood in the house often. Alright, so this is just about ready for me to throw the cheese on top of. Now, usually I use mozzarella. My mozzarella is way past prime in there. This will be my first time using cheddar, but I think the cheddar will do really well with this mixture, because basically that's what this cheeseburger macaroni is anyway. It's cheddar, so it's nice and bubbly. And the real trick is when you are cooking it the way I cook it, is just to make sure it doesn't stick. No big deal in this pan or any of my Wolfgang Puck stuff, because stuff really doesn't stick. Oh, girl. My cheese is past its prime. I'm highly allergic to mold, so there's no way I can use this. But in a pinch, I think I got some American cheese in there and throw on top, but I think I'll just leave it as is. So this is Oh, this is sticking without paying attention to it. That's okay. Glad I saw the blue on that cheese before I decided to dump it. Yikes. That would have been disastrous. Alright, so this is Hamburger Helper in a hurry. And it really wasn't in a hurry, but it is a way to cook it faster than it's intended to be cooked. It's intended to be all like one pan meal, but who has time for that after work every day? You know, after work on whatever day you're deciding to cook it. So here is my Hamburger Helper. I showed you a quicker way to make it, and how to play with the quantities of, you know, the packaging that you get. So Neapolitangal, it is supper time, and I'm gonna call my son in. Have a great one.